Good afternoon and welcome to SnapTech IT's webinar for the month of August 2026. My name is Ted Hulsey. I'm Chief Revenue Officer for SnapTech IT and your co-host for today's webinar. Thanks for joining in for the live session. This webinar will be recorded and circulated to all registrants. You can always visit us on our YouTube channel for all of our content on demand. Today's topic is introducing Microsoft Copilot Cowork. And I'm joined today by my regular co-host and marketing manager, Nathan Caldwell. Nathan, good to have you.
It's good to be halved.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody to our first webinar for the month of August. Like we said, we're going to be talking about Copilot Cowork. Man, it's kind of a tongue twister. You got Claude Cowork, you got Copilot Cowork, you got different versions of Copilot. But Nathan and my job is to demystify this technology, keep our clients up to speed, and let's get into it in a moment. One thing we always do to start things out is we spend 1 to 2 minutes telling you a little bit about who SnapTech is. In case you don't know, we are a cybersecurity first IT service provider with operations in Atlanta, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona, and the San Francisco Bay Area. When new clients come to us, they have technology challenges. Sometimes the challenge is somebody's disappointed with their existing provider. Other times organizations have let their technology get long in the tooth. They've been deferring expenditures and it's causing operational problems. And sometimes management teams are just losing sleep over their cybersecurity posture or worried that they're falling behind in AI. We try to solve all those problems because our philosophy is we believe technology should solve problems, not create them for business leaders. What we do with new clients is we implement our proven process. That means every single one of our clients has a technology plan, a predictable IT budget. All of our best practices are implemented. We implement cybersecurity procedures and help clients raise the bar on where they are on the cybersecurity front. And that really gives clients the peace of mind that they're working with an organization that's really helping them with their cyber defenses. And things will break, and we also every day provide fast and friendly IT support to the users and employees of our clients to help them get back to the business of running their businesses. So that's what we do for our clients. We do it in two different ways. If you're a smaller company and you don't have anybody with IT on their badge, we call that fully managed IT. If you're a larger organization, you may have an IT director, an IT manager, or a whole IT team. For those sorts of organizations, we do what we call co-managed IT, and we put together a customized, bespoke IT outsourcing strategy for that organization, and we come alongside the existing IT team and help make them successful. When new clients come to us, they usually either get started in one of two ways. We either are looking at their IT operations or their cybersecurity posture, and we often will do a cybersecurity risk assessment on their environment. Or more commonly, even today, is we have organizations that are coming to us and saying, hey, our executive team is eating up AI left, right, and center, but we don't really have a strategy. We don't have a roadmap. We don't have a steering committee. We don't know where we're going. We feel like we're falling behind. And so for those sorts of organizations, we have a whole series of services that we help jumpstart and turbocharge the position of the client and how they're using AI in their business. So that's it in terms of like a little bit about SnapTech. The agenda for today, Nathan and I have been talking about Microsoft Copilot with our audience for well over 2 years now. We've done like in-person workshops and virtual workshops and dozens of webinars on the topic. And today's topic is to kind of take it in a little bit new direction and talk about one of Microsoft's latest innovations in the Copilot product family, which is Cowork. I'm going to start us out talking a little bit about giving you an overview of where Cowork fits. And it's important to kind of think about these products are complicated. It is important to think about all the different aspects of the products and the solution so that you can help form your strategy for your organization. But we're going to show you where Cowork fits, how it's priced, how it's packaged, and that sort of thing. And then we're going to provide some practical demos. And Nathan and I have some hands-on explorations that will show you how you can actually use this technology on a very practical basis. Okay, All right. Well, let's look at this. This probably more probably scares you more than anything looking at this slide. But the way to think about Copilot is there's several different dimensions to the solution. Of course, you have Copilot Chat, and chat is the base layer functionality of an AI solution, and that goes for Copilot as well. If you go to Microsoft365.com and you call up that interface, that's where you can engage with Copilot from a chat interface perspective. Um, of course, there's agents, and agents are great for routine tasks or tasks where you want to kind of turn the AI solution loose to run your prompt, and you're willing to it's just going to kind of run autonomously until the project is complete. And agents are also really good for structured workflows. So something you're going to be doing on a routine basis in the same way over and over again. Like an example Nathan and I show all the time is authoring and posting blog content. So Nathan has developed a couple different agents in different platforms. We have our Chat GPT blogging booster agent, and we use it to write blogs, but also most importantly to give us all of the metadata you need to actually go publish that blog. And so that workflow is the same every time. We feed it context, scripts, transcripts, notes, outlines, insights. It writes the blog, it outputs the blog in a structured format, which then allows us to turbocharge our content creation efforts in our marketing team. That's what an agent does. Cowork today, Cowork is really about automating non-standard work. So if you think about your inbox is probably the most non-standard thing that you could think of. Every day, it's like an adventure, opening Outlook to see what kind of challenges are going to face you in your day. And Copilot Cowork is all about helping you automate various tasks in kind of non standard workflows. And then Copilot Studio is where you actually um, author agents and actually build agents in the Microsoft platform. And then Copilot, I mean, a lot of this other detail on the slide, I don't know if I'll address it right here, but um,
Yeah, and
it,
Ted, just to
yeah,
share again, like you opened us up by saying there's some crazy like naming convention where it's tough to keep things straight.
yeah,
And so there's also um, in the browser mode, when you go down the left-hand column in Copilot, you can also choose agents that are already created for you. And
right.
that's what they used to call it agent mode, where you're kind of limiting the focus of the skills of Copilot to do work within a specific app. And so a lot of times the coaching that has kind of been popularized or shared is, if for example, if you want to build a brand new PowerPoint presentation, go to the PowerPoint agent that's already built in Copilot and ask it to create from new. But if you want to edit a PowerPoint presentation, then you want to be in the app and click on Copilot there. So there's just a whole lot of Copilot buttons scattered around the Copilot universe. And you could click on it thinking, oh, it's going to do something for me. And it might respond like, nope, I'm a different type of Copilot and I'm not going to do the thing for you. I'm just going to answer your question about it. And so there's a
Or you
lot of
can do,
navigating.
or to by the same token, you can do kind of an agentic task in two different places. So the example you
Yes,
gave, which is there's now a PowerPoint Copilot agent, which, like you said, is if you're going to build a PowerPoint from scratch, the current recommendation is use the Copilot agent as your starting point.
right.
But you can open up PowerPoint natively and open up a brand new presentation and then say create with Copilot, and it's
Mm-hmm,
doing functionally the same thing.
mm-hmm,
But what you
mm-hmm.
can do more and more in PowerPoint is take existing PowerPoint presentations and use Copilot to add a slide, modify a slide, add graphics and images to a slide, um, change the currency. Like I in a demo I was giving yesterday on our virtual hands-on lab, I had Copilot create a PowerPoint presentation, and it had euros in the presentation, and I wanted dollars, and I just asked it to change the budget slides in the presentation from dollars to euros, and it was actually able to do it with the correct currency translations. So anyway, this stuff's, you got to get your hands dirty, you got to experiment, but our goal today is to kind of demystify some of these things. um, this is not a webinar all around Cowork licensing. I actually attended an hour-long webinar on just Cowork pricing 3 weeks ago. So we're not going to bore you with those details. The main thing you want to understand is that Copilot Cowork introduces variable-based pricing to Microsoft customers. And so when you are using Cowork, um, there's like basically a credit system that is roughly 1 cent per credit, and you can chew up credits very quickly. And typical tasks might cost anywhere between $1 to $7. The person who is your administrator for your account needs to be Johnny on the spot, frankly, on understanding the economics and making sure that the right guardrails are put in place, so you don't end up with some person who just burns up the budget in a single day at the first day of the month. But just to give you, so that's kind of like all we're going to say at a very high level about, we're just going to say a couple things about pricing, is that Cowork introduces variable based pricing. And look, Microsoft, there's a reason they're the biggest software company in the world, and they're very experts at extracting value. And what we're, when you're talking about what Cowork could do, is you are saving knowledge workers who are very expensive, who make, potentially $100 an hour or more, or $500 an hour, and you're saving them oodles of time. And Microsoft obviously is introducing a pricing scheme which is trying to capture more than their fair share of that product productivity increase by introducing kind of a variable based pricing when you're automating knowledge work. So when you kind of look at these things, quick, simple tasks could cost $1 to a medium task, which would be, um, combing over a bunch of source files and having to gather a bunch of context and then come back and make you a bespoke PowerPoint presentation for an upcoming meeting, might be a medium-sized task, which could cost you, $5 to $10, and then a heavy task, could be, even deeper research, and it could cost you even more. So the key thing is to understand variable based pricing is here. It's fairly complicated. I wish Microsoft made it a little simpler, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So what we really want to do in today's webinar is show you some of the different use cases you can use for Copilot Cowork. So just to kind of summarize where we are, chat. This is, you have a browser window, you ask it a question, you maybe attach a file, you do some research, you ask it to craft a piece of content. Agents are where you kind of turn the tool loose to go create something, and it usually takes, agent, you kind of know you're working on something agentic when it's going to take you, 10, 5 to 25 minutes or an hour to actually have the tool run. But this could be things like creating a PowerPoint from scratch, doing a research report, a deep research report, deep research activities. So the researcher agent, so Nathan talked about some of the default agents that Microsoft bundles for free. The researcher agent is amazing. It's like you have a, Wall Street analyst in your pocket, and you can go turn it loose to go research anything. Same goes for the analyst agent, where you can feed it a couple PowerPoint or a couple Excel spreadsheets and say, "Hey, do the analysis on these spreadsheets and come back and tell me what the most profitable path forward is." And it will go do the work and come back and give you a report. that tells you exactly what to do. So that's agentic. And then Cowork is all about leveraging the total context of your Microsoft environment and um, helping automate different tasks, everyday tasks in the, if you would call it, kind of the chaotic end of your life, your work life. So dealing with emails, dealing with calendars, dealing with schedules, dealing with rapid preparation you need to do for an upcoming meeting. That's where Cowork comes in handy. And what's kind of interesting is you could think about Claude as a competitor of Microsoft, but by the same token, they're partners. And a lot of the underlying technology that makes Copilot Cowork work comes from Claude, for example. So the LLM engine that's running underneath Cowork is actually from Anthropic's Claude solution. So Microsoft is in this really unique position, which is they own 75% of all the businesses in the world in terms of who uses their platform. And then there's these various companies that have these large language models and growing software capabilities. And Microsoft, of course, wants to control your experience, but bring you very powerful capabilities in their platform. So that's just kind of all right. So now that's kind of the intro. Nathan, any comments, anything I missed before we kind of head into the demos?
No, I think we're great, and we'll make comments along the way, but I think that's a great lay of the land, helping people to understand the differences there.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the right place here. And am I still okay? And I'm not sharing, so I need to share my screen better. Correct, Nathan? So you're
Yeah,
not
I'm just
sharing
seeing
any.
you,
Yeah. So let me
which
go
is a
ahead and
blessing.
okay. Well, let's see. Let me. I'm going to go ahead and share screens, and I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to share my center screen. Okay. So what you should see is I am in Copilot. So you get here by going to www.microsoft365.com. That brings you here. You also get here if you go office.com. So this is kind of what you think about as kind of the web-based landing page for your Microsoft experience. And what you see, of course, front and center is the chat window. So you see some of these agents that we were talking about earlier, the research agent, the analyst agent, the PowerPoint agent. You have your chat history down here. Um, you have your little waffle, so-called waffle icon up here, which allows you to launch the other apps from your Microsoft platform. Um, you also see that you can select different models to power your prompts. So you can use either OpenAI's ChatGPT, or you could use Anthropic's Claude, or you can leave it on auto mode. Work IQ is, I mean, the one of the foundational benefits of Copilot is that you have access to your so-called Microsoft Graph, which is all of your emails, all of your text, your Teams messages, your recorded meetings, all of your files in OneDrive and SharePoint. Copilot is intelligent and works across all of that content without compromising your privacy and data governance. So your content does not train the large language model, but you can use these models to work on your content. And Microsoft now calls this Work IQ. You can toggle Work IQ on or off, but most of the time you want Work IQ on because that's really where the cool stuff happens. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. And then I'm just looking at the clock here and seeing I got to like speed up a little bit. Okay, but if you toggle over here to Cowork, um, so you can go chat or you can go Cowork. And so one really important distinction we need to make about Copilot Cowork is it's different than what you get from Claude Cowork. Claude Cowork is unique because it's a desktop client on a Windows machine or a Mac. Okay, the Claude Cowork client, and it's really good for working with lots of files on your machine. Microsoft Copilot Cowork is a web-based experience, but the beauty is that Microsoft already has like all these hooks into all of your content that's already in the platform. And so they don't need like an extra client to do this interesting work. It all happens in the web browser because the tool has access to your Microsoft Graph where all your content is. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do here in just the next couple of minutes before I turn things over to Nathan is just show you all um, some of the things you can do. And so I would encourage you, especially if you're licensed to the premium versions of Copilot, you have access to these tools of today, but you can just go ahead and organize my inbox. And so I'm going to, on all of these demos, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fire them off and then show you the results because one reality here um, is that this stuff it's very interactive, number one, and it takes time. It's not like snap your fingers 30 seconds later the work is done. It's actually very complex work and it takes minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes to actually get done. And the reality is that that's a terrible demo experience for a webinar. So it makes our lives a little more complicated to show this tech how it works. But basically, what we're doing here is we're saying to, I think everybody is drowning in email, and um, basically, um, you can ask Cowork to go organize your inbox and help give you some email triage tactics. And I've already run some tasks on my inbox, and I want to kind of just show you like a quick video of what we could actually see happen there. So I'm going to open up a video of this.
Just a quick comment, Ted, like these
Yeah.
demos that you're showing, these are populated as kind of like an experiment for everyone. Kind of like look at the cool things you can do with Cowork. Very, very, very complex tasks that would take you an extraordinary amount of time and thinking and analysis. And so they put these few buttons, organize my inbox at the bottom there, arrange my week, and prep for a meeting. And so we're showing everyone if you hit these buttons, this is what'll happen.
Yeah, so I've got a little video running here, and Nathan, is the video rendering okay over
Oh yeah, I see
GoToWebinar?
it. Yep.
Okay, great. So I ran this earlier and hit the record button, and so it's running. And so I'm gonna like fast forward here to minute 312. So that's like the first reality, right? So for interesting things to start happening, it took a whole 3 minutes. So I've now moved the video up to 3 minutes, 3 minute 12. And then it starts telling me, hey, you got 634 email messages yesterday. And here's what these emails are about. And when I'm not doing webinars, I do sales at SnapTech. And one of the things us sales professionals do these days is we send a lot of, we send a lot of emails through our CRM system, which are called sequences. So we've got a lot of prospects to try to get a hold of. And because we send a lot of these emails, we also get a lot of replies. We get bounces from people who left their jobs. We get bounces from people who are no longer working at a company. We get out of office replies, and so we get a lot of mail back. And so Cowork is here triaging my inbox, and one of the things it came back and said is it said, hey, you have a whole bunch of emails that are like related to a couple of marketing campaigns that you're running. What do you want me to do with these? And so Cowork recommended to me, hey, let's create a rule that takes all of the email responses back to your inbox and let's move them into a folder. Now, the very first thing it did is it said, hey, you've got this one piece of spam. Do you want me to delete it? And I said, which is kind of interesting. I was like, yes, delete it. But then this next thing it did which is like, hey, you've got a whole bunch of like things in your inbox, which are these responses to this campaign. Let's set up a campaign rule, and then move all of that mail over into a folder in your inbox. And so that's what it's doing now. And Um, it's creating the rule. It's then working through the inbox to actually identify those messages. And you see that I'm interacting here. So this is a very interactive process too. I mean, to Microsoft's credit, it says they're low risk rule. So it's kind of giving you some guidance on, hey, is this a high risk endeavor we're doing on your inbox or a low risk endeavor? This is a fairly low risk endeavor because we're just basically tidying up a whole bunch of messages. And then it's asking me, then it says you also get a whole bunch of like newsletters every day. What do you want me to do with those? Do you want me to do you want me to delete those? And I think I'm going to tell it, no, just leave those alone, because I actually run a different service on my inbox that actually takes everything that's kind of newsletter oriented or receipts and that sort of thing and puts them in all these pre-organized folders. So I'm fairly obsessive about my inbox, and I already have like another service that's already adding some intelligence to my inbox experience. And so I'm going to tell Cowork, hey, no, no, don't mess with those other 112 emails. They're already properly organized, which is off to the side, and where I can go get them if I need them. So I think I'm going to click here on a section like just skip archiving or just skip this step. And then it's going to go to its last step, which is, okay, now I'm going to go organize these emails. And so we've deleted it. We've set up the campaign rule. And then what we're left with is like this important work stuff, or this like stuff that needs a human response. And so let me stop the video there and go back to the PowerPoint. And what I'm going to do for the rest of my demos is just kind of talk you through how this stuff works. Let me toggle this like this. And so like this is the end result is um on the inbox triage task, is it took 102 messages that were related to like campaign responses, and it moved them into a specified folder and set up a rule in my inbox going forward to address those kinds of emails. So this is an example of Cowork helping you with your email. Let's move on and talk about arranging your week. All right. So the other thing you do is I clicked on arrange my week. I'm not going to do a video on this one. I just have some screenshots. So click on arrange your week. And then what it's able to do is it's able to go in and kind of do a triage on your week. And what's kind of interesting about this is I ran this on a Thursday, um, and it's like, well, wait a minute, like I can't triage your week. Your week's almost over. It's Thursday. But what about next week? What are we going to do about next week? And so it kind of analyzed, how many meetings I have and where my time is being carved out, and then it gives me these various choices of things I can do. So the very first thing, as I said, let's focus on next week. And the other thing it says is, okay, well, what do we want to do with next week? And do we want to make sure, like, one of the things I think we need to do with our time is we need to guard time for the important things, right? So do we need time dedicated for writing or content creation or webinar prep or coaching your team or whatever? And one of the things I often need to carve out time for is my quarterly goals. We call them rocks internally at SnapTech, but I often have a couple like quarterly projects I'm working on, and they often fall behind when the crush of the tactical day gets in our way. And so what I told Copilot, is let's let's go ahead and carve out some time for my rock work. And so I said, hey, carve out time for my rock work. And it then what it went ahead and did is it actually carved out, there was some interactions. I didn't do screenshots of all of it, but one of the things it did is it said, hey, should I just carve out some time next week for you to focus on your rocks? And it went ahead and organized the calendars for that actual activity. So triaging your inbox. Okay, now my last demo before I hand it to Nathan, and Nathan, we're kind of on time almost, so that's
Yeah, I
pretty
love
good.
it. Thank you.
All right. Um, the last thing that I think you saw earlier is one of the other things you can do is use Cowork to organize yourself for a meeting. Now, there's already a lot of different ways with Copilot or ChatGPT for Business or Claude or Gemini from Google. There's already a lot of ways to get ready for a meeting. You can kind of put things in a project folder and say, hey, this meeting's coming up, help me with my memo to get ready. But this is kind of next level, because all you have to do is with natural language say, hey, I've got a meeting that's coming up, and it will go scour your whole inbox and basically get you ready for this meeting. Well, like looking at a bunch of different places. It looks at email, it looks at calendars, it looks at transcripts from prior meetings, it looks at files and folders, it looks at your whole work IQ, if you will. And in this case, what I did is I'm a member of, I'm one of the founders of a startup community in the San Francisco Bay Area called East Bay Founders. And we usually meet every late Friday afternoon every week, and I often have to scramble to get ready for that meeting. And so what I said to it, as I said to Cowork, I said, hey, help me get ready for my East Bay Founders meeting this week. And it went out there and it said, I see you're meeting tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and let me help you get ready. And it went through and it knows that Sugata, my colleague, one of the co-founders, hosts the meeting. It went through and looked at various emails back and forth between Sugata and me, and other members of our team about different hot topics that should make it on the agenda. So we've got a sponsor conversation with one of our sponsors. We've got some venue selection things we need to do for our upcoming September event. And it found all this interesting information. And then it suggested basically an agenda for the meeting. Like, hey, go no go decision on the Stacks location, sponsorship pipeline. How are we doing? Speaker lineup for September, and then actually organize an agenda. I mean, this is next level stuff. I mean, this is like cooking with gas, and as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, Cowork, triaging your inbox, triaging your schedule, helping you get ready for meetings that are coming up, leveraging all of your, leveraging your Microsoft, you know, environment, and yeah. Anyway, hopefully that did it justice, Nathan.
Yeah, that was great, and I appreciate that. Um, and I mean, the trick is, as we're looking at all of these things, is to know that those ones that Ted just showed you are the out of the box demos. And right now, my little daughter, she had today is first day of school. She just started kindergarten, but today's a half day. Tomorrow's her first full day. She just came by to say hello. So it's just my wife went and picked up the other kids. So the delights of working from home. But here we go. So those that Ted showed you, like I was saying, are out of the box. There are a couple of icons right at the bottom. They want you to get going with Cowork and have an idea of what it can do for you. And so I'm going to take it a bit of a step further, which is to kind of get creative with thinking through some very complex things that, as Ted said, Copilot has its visibility deep down into the different areas of your organization, of your documents, your file folders, your emails, your chats, all of those sorts of things. And so Cowork is a powerful assistant if you are trying to pull from all those key areas to make something happen. Or if you want to create a very a multi-step, deliverable project. And so for my first demo, what I'm going to show you is, of course, Ted already showed you, you go to Copilot and then you can choose between chat and Cowork. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Cowork. And this is how it starts off. You can go to new task, and this is what it looks like. What's next on your list? Start a task. And then these are the buttons that Ted already clicked on and showed you. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is a very complex project, which there are multiple items that need to be reviewed and then recreated and edited so that I can do part 2 of this project. So the project is our monthly webinars. For our webinars, it's not just a matter of Ted and I showing up with our handsome faces on camera and saying, hey, what are we going to talk about today? There's a lot of prep that goes into it. We prepare emails ahead of time to invite all you wonderful folks to come. We prepare social media images to say it's coming up. We make sure the landing pages are built and all of this sort of stuff. So there are multiple steps involved. Ted, he was presenting from the most beautiful PowerPoint deck that I happened to create for this webinar. And so there's all of this stuff that goes into it. And we reset every month. We do 2 of these a month. So it's a lot of work to go from scratch each time. And it's a lot of energy to be thinking through each step each time on your own. So this is where Cowork can come in handy. And so what I want to show you, and just like Ted, I'm going to time travel through my demo. I'll show you what I prompt it with. I'll show you the files I use, but we're going to fast forward into the results so that we aren't sitting there waiting for it to do its magic. So this was my initial prompt. We're doing another webinar similar to our previous Claude AI webinar. The new topic is introducing Copilot Cowork for business. So I'm referencing this webinar we have today, but this is a demo. So I created a fake date in my prompt here because I wanted to see what it would do. And I wanted to make sure that when it produced content, when I looked at the content, I could be confident that it created the content and not me, because it will have this date, Friday, August 14th. But what's the date today? It's Thursday, August 13th. And so I could do a quick spot check, kind of like the Van Halen Eminem test that they put out there. And if you don't know the Van Halen Eminem test, do some Googling, do some reading. It's fascinating. I love it. All right. Now, a lot of people think it's because they were divas. They weren't divas. And you'll find out when you Google it. All right. So, or email me and I'll tell you the story. I love it so much. All right. So here's my prompt. And then I told it, create a new folder, copy and edit all the previous pieces of content to build. Now, I want it to do the webinar title and abstract, a registration page copy, 2 emails, a last call email, 3 LinkedIn posts, update our enablement document for our sales team, update a PowerPoint presentation, then organize it into a new webinar folder, review our demo outlines, update them to show demos of Copilot, create new social media images to promote the webinar. So you can see that I am giving it, A through I. So quite a few different things all in one. Now, I also want to show you off to the right, you can see my workspace here. It gives you the steps that it actually ran, but I want to go back to when I prompted it. I actually loaded these reference documents for it. I don't have to do that though. I wouldn't have to, because it can see all of our documents already in the folders. But I just wanted to kind of limit its thinking rather than do a lot of searching, rather than question me on, is this the right file I can look at, or all of that. So this was my effort to just shorten the interview process between me and Cowork. And so you can see here that I loaded the actual transcript from our last webinar. I loaded our enablement document that we give our sales team, and there's a bit of a preview there. I also loaded our demo outline. Ted and I, we make notes. We don't just think, oh, I know what I'm going to show and show it to you. We put some thought into these things, just like we put thought into how we take care of our clients. And so just wink, wink, in case you want to become one of those. Also, we have our PowerPoint that I wanted to update. And then we have some social media images. Do you see those 2 handsome devils down there in the corner? Good golly, cute boys. All right. So we got a couple of those. And then it runs. It says even, I asked it to, this is part of the prompt. at the bottom, I said, then create an internal summary telling the marketing team what was created and what still needs human input. Now, a big reason why I put that in there is because if we take a look at our enablement document again, each of those little boxes is a unique link to our webinar registrations. And so it's a very specific thing that we can't just have Cowork or Copilot or any AI create. They have to be generated from GoToWebinar. All right, so that's the prompt. And let's quickly go through it. It goes through and it lists the material, creates the enablement toolkit. Look, it completes a task, It keeps going down. And so now I want to get to, real quick, it tells me, okay, oh, this is what I want to, where is it? Okay. So before I show you what it built, I want to show you how great it was at thinking and researching and even looking through our stuff. Because right here it said 3 things need a decision before anything ships. A date conflict. The last call email that went out yesterday promotes introducing Microsoft Copilot Cowork, your new AI assistant, on Thursday, August 13th. So it caught that in my inbox and it said, hey, Nathan, remember at the start of this demo, I said, I purposely put the wrong date in the demo, in the prompt, because I wanted to see its output. And I wanted to make sure it was this output, not my own that I already created for the 13th. So hopefully that's clear, and you see the power of this going in and finding that last call email. I didn't even tell it about the last call email in my prompt. It went out hunting, it found it, and this is where it lives up to its description of being your AI assistant. Like, it is doing thinking on its own above and beyond what you're prompting it to do. Copilot Chat, it thinks on its own, but within the parameters of what you're asking it to do often. Agents as well, limits it down to that. Cowork is really, really going outside the box and kind of save it. This would have saved my bacon if I had needed the right date in it. Okay, so it also said every registration link is a placeholder. There's no GoToWebinar ID, so make sure you go in and fix that. And then also it warned me that the Claude Anthropic logo images are still in the deck, in the PowerPoint. They couldn't swap out the embedded artworks. That needs a designer. Okay, so we know what we still have to do here. Let's jump over and show you the results. So the way that you would get there, and the way it told me of where it put the files is here. I have to go over to Copilot. I got to go into my apps, and I need to go to OneDrive. And then in OneDrive, I'm going to jump into, we have Cowork. And then tasks, and then we have the new webinar. That's the task I gave it. And then we have output. So output gets me there, and you can see what it created. So I created this summary, read first. That's going to tell me what was done, what wasn't done. And then over here, we also have our sales enablement document created. We have the campaign. And here's what I really want to show you too, is let's go ahead and take a look at one of these social media images and look at what it did for me. It edited it right down where it changed the title, Introducing Copilot Cowork for Business. See the demos, get real work done. It changed the date and the time, and it says register now. So that was one of them. Let's go back and take a look at the next one real quick. And there's those handsome guys, and it changed the title, it changed the date, and so we're in good shape. So what a time savings, definitely, from not having to go in and go back into Canva and change all these up for myself. I got Cowork doing it for me. Now, I do want to show you real quick too the PowerPoint to show you what it was talking about. It didn't take out the previous logos, but it definitely did change a bunch of the copy and text. And so you can see the Cowork, chat, agents, pages and notebooks, work modes. So it went through and it changed a ton of the copy, and really helped us out here to get further down the path of being complete, and gave me the heads up on the logos though that needed to change. So anyway, so that's pretty cool. Huge campaign, huge amount of work done. I did have to wait around probably like 12 to 20 minutes, though, which is way better than the amount of time it would have taken me to get this all done. All right.
Right. And
So,
and
yeah,
it also, just to make a brief comment, the other thing to just mention is, a key theme here is this is a co-pilot. It's not an autopilot.
yeah,
So there's it is taking all this labor intensive work, like going in and doing graphic design on your standard graphics and updating the dates and all that sort of stuff. It's doing it for us. Um, it's 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 doing a revision to the PowerPoint, but it's still, the PowerPoint's maybe 90% there. It's not 99% there. And
yeah,
so, but the crazy part is it gets you 90% there in 20 minutes across 7 different deliverables that you need to go do a marketing campaign.
yeah.
So it's quite amazing.
All right. So the very next thing I wanted to demo was the idea of a automated steady task. And so this goes beyond an agent, where an agent would be something like we talk about. You want to write a blog and you want some rules in place. So every time you request it to write a blog, it can do that and it can answer those questions and provide you with content for that. However, if you're wanting to automate a task, this is going to go into kind of a complex mode where I'm asking it to watch my email inbox. So let's go ahead and read this prompt. I said, beginning now, whenever I receive a registration notification email from Eventbrite with order notification in the subject. So we do hands-on AI labs where we invite people to come. And when they register, we register them through Eventbrite, which is a helpful app for events. And whenever somebody gets registered, an email automatically shows up in my inbox, and the subject is order notification. Now, if you've gotten to know Ted's personality at all, he loves info. It's like num 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 num. Like tasty treats for Ted is information. You probably gathered that from the way he talked about his precious newsletters in his inbox and how he has a separate workflow that he digests them with. And so I love to feed Ted info. It makes him like me better. And we go way, way back. And so it's harder and harder to have things that Ted likes me for, you know? And so, so I know I'm going, all right, I'll get on with it. But what I want this to do is anytime one of these order notifications shows up in my inbox, I want Cowork to think about it, go look at the last time we had somebody register and get the total count, and send Ted and a Teams message with the new update. Now, this is important because the email notification I get from these registrations, it doesn't tell me how many people are now in the event. And so this is really, really helpful. And I even had it put a little personality in it so that we can test and make sure that this is what's coming through. And so I said, all right, as soon as I get that email, I said, review our last known number of registrants, post a concise update to Ted Halsey and Teams always begin the update with the famous line from Jaws, "We're going to need a bigger boat," and just testing because I want him to know that this is part of my demo. But then summarize total registrations, including the last registrant, registrations added since the previous one, companies represented, and close out the team's message update with, "Thanks for being a tremendous buddy." And so I ran this, and it took a little while to get this built. And it built some triggers, it did some thinking, uh, and then what I want to show you is right here. Okay, so it is sending to Ted's chat, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Teams. I'm going to show you the message in Ted's messages. And here it is. Here's the first one that went through. "We're going to need a bigger boat. Just testing. 826 AI hands-on lab update. Total registrants, 5 out of 12 seats. Added since last report, 3 out of 12. So 2 were added. Cody Chitwood, and then Nate Dogg, Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs. That's me. That's the fake demo info. And then it closes out, "Thanks with being a tremendous buddy." And I let him know, "Hey, this is part of my demo. Don't pay any mind." And then I did another one to test it. So then another one came through, and lo and behold, Clark Kent, who works at the Fortress of Solitude, he registered for the event. And it came through and notified Ted so that he could see and be up to date. Now, this is really, 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 really cool because now I don't have to be glued to my inbox and find that and alert Ted. I don't have to multitask in a meeting to say, "Hey, Ted, we got another one. Somebody else registered." It's going to run it automatically for me. And so this is really cool. It shows you the layout of what it did. These were the instructions I gave it. And then look at what it did. It went through all of these different steps in order to make sure that it would run. All right, so I got one more demo to show you. So let's go ahead and take a look at this demo here. This is called a vacation handoff. And so how many times are we planning PTO? We're planning to be out of the office, or we need to be out of the office. We're like, I got to decline these meetings. I need to remember my out of office reply. I need to follow up with this person and let them know where this project is, all that sort of stuff. So I created this prompt where it says, "Hey, I'm going on vacation the week of Thanksgiving. I'll be on a cruise with my extended family. I won't be able to hold any meetings or answer any emails." And so I had it review my calendar, recent emails, Teams conversations, and active work. I wanted it to determine what my team needs while I'm gone. Then create a vacation handoff document that includes active projects, deadlines, meetings, coworkers or clients waiting on me, decisions that need to be made, potential issues that could arise, who should handle each of these. And then I said, take the following actions. Decline any meetings on my calendar currently with a message that says, "Sorry, I can't be there. I'll be in the middle of the ocean with our family." Then also block my calendar as out of office for the week. Automatically update my team's availability as out of office. Set up an out of office email reply saying, "Sorry, I can't respond for a few days. I'm in the middle of the ocean with our family. If you need something, please ask Ted Halsey," with his email. And then if I get any emails from Eventbrite with registrants that week, automatically forward them to Ted and Romeo. And then I have draft individual messages to anyone, identify meetings that should be declined, delegated, or rescheduled, and show me your proposed actions before making any changes. Now, it went through, it found a ton of stuff. It asked me to do a few things. It offered me some suggestions, and then it built this document. And I want to show you that document. Like, this is just so super helpful. Even if you think about having an assistant who would give this to you, Copilot Cowork can do it for you. And so this is the overall handoff. And this is so great because not only do I just look at my calendar and cancel meetings or reschedule them, but this is telling me all of the projects, where it stands, owner while I'm away. So I can even like figure out the risks. Take a look at this, important deadlines. Uh, it's meetings during the week. Like it just takes it to the next level where you can see, okay, people waiting on me. So even if I need to reach out to somebody presently to make sure that they're in a good spot before I leave, it's already summarized everything I need to do. Here's where I wanted to get to and show you where it's doing some extra thinking. Potential issues and contingencies. Okay, potential issue, what would trigger it, and who handles it. And so it gives you kind of a playbook, a plan to go. And so this is great where you could even put this in the hands of other team members where you say, hey, look, I'm going to be out. This is what I've been working on. This is where it stands. You can refer to this document just to have a heads up. If there's anything urgent, I hope you can step in and take care of it and you have a heads up. All right, so that is my portion of the demos. Um,
But you
Pretty
forgot to
exciting
mention
stuff.
you forgot to mention one of the most important things is
Oh, tell me.
you actually had it run,
Yes.
and I was not even aware you were going to be on a vacation in November. It canceled your meetings, and then it had said I'm going to be in the middle of the ocean with my family, and I was like, oh, he must be going on a cruise. And then I got like another meeting cancellation that said the same thing. So anyway, the point is you showed the memo, which is just kind of
Yes.
over the top
Yeah.
in terms of level of preparation. It would take a very expensive admin to put something like that together,
Yeah.
but practically speaking, you actually ran the work, and your actual calendar for that week has been cleared. And I got all the messages. I know about your vacation in November, and it's August. And most good employees don't do that. the most employees tell their boss like the week before they leave that they're going on vacation. So
Yeah.
anyway, really
And,
cool
and
demo.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
to show you that step there, like it prepared that document and then it asked me, want me to run all of it or adjust anything first? For example, delegating rather than declining a specific L10 or holding off on the Eventbrite rule. And then I told it, only run the meeting declines and block my calendar as out of office for that week. Because in this demo, like I'm confident of those pieces. I don't want the other stuff going yet. I feel I like in it, it was going to update Garrett on a couple of things. I need to work on those things. I'm not out of office yet. It's not till November. So it was eager and ready to go. And then it told me which meetings it declined. It said it had my note. So, and Ted, you confirmed that you got that note.
Right.
And so it's super, super helpful. And I mean, this has got to be like a company policy for organizations who are obsessed with not letting balls drop for clients or things like that. Like run this before your vacation and hand off that document. Anyway, just
All
a
right.
pretty cool thing.
Nice work, Nathan. Let's wrap us up. We're out of time, everybody. We like to start on time and end on time. Thank you so much. Killer demos, Nathan. I think everybody hopefully got the picture. Cowork is pretty interesting, pretty powerful. It's a little hot off the press. Not a lot of people know about it yet. I mean, it's only been shipping for just a couple of weeks here, but we were very pleased to dig in, help educate our audience, and give you guys a head start on your own journey with Copilot Cowork. Thanks a lot for tuning in. If your organization needs help with AI, we can connect you with an expert. So use the QR code on the left to grab some time to spend some time with people on my team where we can talk about your journey and how we might be able to help you. And then last but not least, let's go ahead and make sure you don't miss our next webinar, AI for your inbox. We showed you a lot of the ways to use Copilot Cowork to manage your inbox today, but there's also a lot of other tools that are available. And we're going to have one of our colleagues, Brandon, on deck with us next week talking about that. So if you want to register for that session, go ahead and click that QR code and join us. And with that, want to thank you for joining another SnapTech webinar, and we'll let you guys out of here. See you next time. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.